Well, good evening and welcome back to Speed Racing Network. We're here in week number 8 now, just before the holiday season kicks off. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Nick Halda out of the Xfinity Series. Nick, welcome back to the booth here at Talladega, a monster of a super speedway that we just ran at the trucks not too long ago. Great race a few weeks back. Looking forward to another good one here tonight.
Oh, what a perfect race. These guys have a little bit of time off than this race and a little bit more time off. Talladega, it's not necessarily the driver challenging track. It challenges in different ways. You'll have teammates trying to line up against each other, trying to block lanes, and other teammates trying to go around. The independents trying to figure out when the teams are going to pit and stay all together. So there'll be a lot of strategy, a lot going on tonight, and a lot to keep up and follow on as we'll potentially have green flag pit stops that can really change the strategy and what happens under this race.
Absolutely, and don't take your eyes off the ball. We're 5 weeks from facing the cut line, and we're going to get our playoff field set. And this is how it's looking so far in the Buttkicker Series here. Joseph Causey with a 103-point gap over Randy Nichols there, the first car below that cut line. Ryan Johnson, Ed Shearer, Reese Schaefer, and last week's winner, Timothy Latham, going to round out the top 5. They're all feeling pretty good, but these guys are going to start feeling a little bit of heat. This is behind the cut line, and look how tight it is. Politis there tied for 16th as well with Nichols. He's 5 points back. McDonald 6 back. Scott Kalal, former playoff driver here in the Buttkicker Cup Series, 13 back. Newcomer King is 15 back. You got drivers all the way back to Skip Gandy and Jordan Sailors that are within a race of moving up above that cut line.
And not only that, the guys just above the cut line are a little scared too. I believe I saw 3 or 4 guys at +5. So we're talking, 5 or 6 guys within 11 points of each other for these last 4 or 5 spots in. So a lot of moving and shaking. Of course, we still have the drop weeks to figure in, and as we get closer to that, we'll start figuring those numbers in. They'll change a little bit, but you don't want to rely on those drop weeks. You want to get up there and be in there ahead of time.
Yeah, and I have to imagine we will see those drop week standings here in the next week or two. Sean Griffith will get to work on factoring in those 3 drop weeks here, probably around week 10, just to give these guys an idea of where they actually stand. So let's go ahead, check out the results from last week's race, or 2 weeks ago out at Richmond. Good battles up and down the board. JW getting the win over Phoenix, 85-68. Gear Up getting another win, going up 108-66 against Rat Pack. Barr getting a win over Yellow Stripe, 93-76. And Tank, well, they're going to stay undefeated there, get the bye last week.
And, what a good week for Tank to get that bye week. But they've got to look at it. They know they're undefeated, but, Barr would have tied them 2 weeks ago. The Gear Up would have beat them last week. So they know they didn't just get away with it easy. If they were battling a couple of these guys, they might get a tie or a loss. So they got to stay on their toes as well.
Absolutely. You start feeling that pressure, too, when you start seeing that number get bigger in the win column and keeping that 0 in the L column. But there they are at the top of the board, 7-0, 792 points scored on the season. Gear Up, though, sitting pretty healthy with a 2-point advantage, or 2 race advantage over JW, 6-1. They got 696 points on the season. JW, Bobby Anderson, Phoenix Virtual Racing, all tied there with the same record, but third place position going to go to JW. They've got the points advantage. Yellow Stripe and Rat Pack, they're going to round up the rest of the field there, 2-5 and 1-6. So this has just made it so fun here this season, and it's not a sure thing yet, but looking like we might see a Tank Racing and Gear Up matchup here at the end of the season.
Well, these other guys definitely want to stay within striking distance, and I think if we look at the matchups tonight, we have a huge one to do that. I believe JW and Bobby Anderson are going up against each other this week. Yes, they are. So those 2 teams are going to want to try to, the winner's going to be able to stay 2 back, while the next one's going to fall 3 back of second place. Is only the top 2 will be racing for the championship, team championship.
Yeah, and, it's constantly said here at super speedways, anything can happen. So you got Tank Racing going up against Phoenix Virtual. They're looking to make up some noise here over in the Phoenix camp. Look to see that matchup. That's another good one. Rat Pack going to get their second win here on the season to go 2-6 with the bye. And Gear Up going up against Yellow Stripe. That's an intriguing matchup as well. We'll see how it shakes out once we get to week 9 next week. But these guys are wrapping up qualifying looking like they're getting ready to start gridding up there on pit road. So let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to Buttkicker. As always here on Speed Racing Network, can't thank them enough for coming back on board for season 4. So please go check out buttkicker.com and see what they got to offer. Any sim racer in your life, like I keep saying, it's the holiday season right around the corner, would be a perfect gift.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's check out Silverback Tax Solutions too. This is right around the corner as well, so check out silverbacktax.com. If you have any tax questions, there's the number right there on your screen. And as always, got to give a quick shout out to TJ's Team Foundation over at morethanAcape.org too. They came back on board after a great season 3 and can't thank them enough for doing just that, helping out families battling pediatric cancer. Once again, please go check out morethanAcape.org. It's the perfect time of year to donate to families in need. So looking like the guys are starting to grit up there on pit road. Let's head out and start to see our lineup here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Randy Nichols going to the top of the board with a time of 53.697 and just 0.04 of a second off of his pace as his teammate Matthew Dula, kind of reminiscent of our finish last week, separated by less than 1,000th of a second. So very tight times up at the top of the board. Drew Ballesteros, Reese Schaefer, that's your second row, and Ryan Johnson and Joseph Causey, that's row number 3.
Row 4, Seth Berger from Tank Racing, and outside of him, it will be Tyler Markle, independent driver. Gear Up Motorsports, Brian McAvoy in 9th spot, rounding out the top 10. Rat Pack Racing's Dave Hughes Jr., and row 6 is going to be Michael Politis and Justin Rideout. The row 6 there.
Yeah, not a lot of JW cars in that first grid there. Row 7, Lane Hostler, Emerson Ardon there. Robert Norfleet and Ed Shearer. That's going to be row number 8, Adrian Schumacher. Rob Beasall in row 9 with Scott Kalal. Jordan Sailors rounding out the top 10 rows here. Big field here. We got 37 cars in the field, actually 36. So let's go ahead and give you the rest of the field as they start to pace around the track. Skip Gandy, Brad Herman, that's row 11. Brandon Zimmerman and Timothy Latham in row 12.
Row 13, Blair Holloman and Mike Mosby. Row 14, Corey Saucier and Scott Healy. Row 15, John Holliday and David Duke.
Yeah, so David Duke making... Oh, sorry.
Yep. David Duke. David Duke, I believe you said, making his appearance or coming in.
Yep. First race here this season, I do believe. Good to see David Duke back. Johan Seminario and Alonzo King. That's row 16. Byron McDonald, Aaron Gerwitz, row 17. And then Brandon Domain, Josh Siegfried in row 18. Looking like a lot of Phoenix virtual racing guys opting to start the race in the back of the field here tonight. So like you said, you always go into the race wondering what you're going to do. We were talking about it pre-race. You kind of just got to feel it out. And I think that's what a lot of guys are going to do here once this thing kicks off here tonight.
It's going to be real interesting to see what happens in these first, 6-7 rows. I think all of JW Racing's full field of 5 drivers is within the first 6 rows, scattered amongst them several tank drivers. Those two teams just pretty much going to try to break away, see how far back Phoenix is willing to lay back. And then, of course, you always have the independents spurred in there. How fast are they going to want to move up, or are they going to be content to ride around for a little bit? Always interesting to see the early strategy and what drivers are thinking. A lot of things to think about. Fuel strategy, when are they going to pit? Are they going to try to pit early and go down to the pit as a team and get in and get out as fast as you can, where yellow flags are going to come into play? And also, as we talked about these cup cars with the bump drafting, that there's this little imaginary bubble, if you will. When these two cars start getting close to each other and you get close to the car in front of you, you get this kind of force field stall that's kind of hard to sometimes push through. So we'll see that come into play several times as well.
So I got to ask you, who you got here tonight as the guys start to approach that Geico restart zone, the car going down the pit road there? Who you got?
We'll take the number 4, Dave Hughes.
All right, I like that. I'm going a little bit further in the pack. I'm going the 57 of Emerson Ardon. He gets a big win here tonight. Those tank guys always look strong here at the super speedways, but looking like that Geico restart zone right there. That's Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving here at Talladega.
And you see the teammates, the 1, 2, 3 on the bottom, get a good jump all together on the outside of the 41 of Dula. Those guys are all teammates. They all timed it well and broke out and are going to get a good jump on this field. Of course, the The draft will start coming to play, and interesting to see Dula actually jump down to put all the JW guys on the bottom row instead of trying to maybe control the top and bottom. These guys are going to drop down and kind of pull away here, front four.
Yeah, and Justin Rideout not too far behind. He's going to make it a whole party up here if he can get by Brian McAvoy, and shouldn't have a problem doing that with 4 teammates up there. Probably going to help him get the draft, or maybe he'll just tuck right in. But, man, the top 7 single file really quickly, and that outside lane is just falling back here in a hurry.
I wonder if Dula Spotter maybe sensed that outside lane was just struggling to form up from the drop of the green. Actually, one guy got shuffled all the way to the top, falling all the way back. So it's taking them a little while to get organized. We'll see if they can't get organized and push back up. But you see what happens when you get cars lined up. You've got, some 8, 9 cars on the bottom lined up as they head down the backstretch, all pulling away.
Yeah, looking good out there and starting to get a good push on that outside lane. Causey with a big run going by Brian McAvoy right now and right to the outside of Dula. They are charging to the front now.
And that's all because of the number 77 Seth Berger. Huge push there as he is just locked onto that bumper. He has popped that invisible bubble that we talked about. He has got that thing locked right onto the back and is going to push that car all the way up to the front now. Question is, how long can he push before he starts overheating as well?
And right to the front, the 88 out in the lead here at Talladega. He's being pushed by his teammate there, Berger. Scott Healy just behind him, I believe. Or excuse me, that's Tyler Markle in the 24 there. And Dave Fuge Jr. there in the 4, followed by Emerson Ardon, who's making his way up quickly through the field.
And you see what happens when teammates get together and there's that comfortability and that trust. You can just lock bumpers and push these guys around real hard. You're not worrying about the guy behind you. You probably practice with them, kind of understand their lines and able to talk on the Discord about different things. And then that's why you see these teammates on the outside and now teammates line up on the inside.
So coming to the stripe to complete lap number 3 in a hurry. The 42 out in front, but being challenged by the 88 of Joseph Causey. Both of these teams known for their prowess at super speedways, so it's going to look like it's going to be a good battle. Only thing we're missing is if that was a team matchup here this week, JW going up against Tank, but that's not the case. But still, great battle nonetheless. Side by side for about 15 rows deep.
Side by side and a little squirrely all throughout both lines. The top line there bouncing around a little bit, the bottom line bouncing around a little bit. We're only 4 laps in. These tires haven't really had a chance to wear down much. See what happens when how much harder these cars are going to be to keep in line as they start losing fuel, losing weight. But right now, we're coming to the line here, 5 laps complete. The whole field still stacked up 2 by 2.
Yeah, so Berger and 88 of Joseph Causey, they've both cleared the JW car of Randy Nichols out in front there. But Nichols gets a good push on that inside lane by his teammate there, Drew Ballesteros and Ryan Johnson. And now it's a side-by-side drag race once again. Who is going to give right now? Look at that. Right on the bumper of his teammate here.
And that bottom line was able to push through because Berger was overheating. You saw him kind of pop the nose out about a half a lane higher, get some air to that nose that stalled that outside line. So interesting to see how important the front 2 cars are for each line. It's almost not even a matter of which line has more cars. It's which line's front 2 cars are locked up bumper to bumper better.
Let's see a big gap between the 42 and the 44 of Ballesteros and Nichols here, but gets right back to the bumper. And that's something you're going to see a lot. You, as a leader, as that lead car here in this draft, you're going to have to be scrubbing that brake a little bit just to get the contact on the bumper there like you're seeing right now. And now they are moving. This is why both of these lines are trucking as well as they are.
And really perfect timing there by Ballesteros. You'll see him kind of back off in the corners. You really don't want to be pushing in the corners. You really get the guy in front of you loose. So he'll back off in the corners. He'll probably back off a little bit through the tri-oval, and he timed that perfect. As both of those cars got out on corner exit, he was right on the bumper and stayed there the entire backstretch.
Seeing a lot of Seth Berger fans out in the chat. They're liking what they're seeing. He's made his way up 3 positions so far, right on the bumper of his teammate there, Joseph Causey. First 2 cars on that outside lane, running real well. You see him stick the nose out there in the 77 machine, get some air on the nose, and that's another thing we were talking about before the race. These cars last a little bit longer when you're running nose to tail, as you're seeing right now. A lot of these guys push it really hard up front.
Surprised to see how hard these guys are pushing with just 7 to go. They are trying to get everything they can and push these leaders out as far as they can. Sometimes, early in the race, everybody be content to kind of ride around a little bit. But these guys are pushing these leaders up as hard as they can. That outside line there, once again, kind of stalling out as a couple of guys look to try to make this possibly 3 wide as we come up to lap 8. They are 3 wide, stacked up about 3/4 of the field back.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. There it is. That's Aaron Gerwitz and Scott Healy there on the high lane, looking like they want to make their way up to the front. Gerwitz started the race in the back, up 19 positions already in 15th place, so he's up behind Ed Shearer. Not a bad car to follow. He's going to go to the inside, though, and try and pick up some more spots here in that 9 Silverback Tax Solutions Chevy Camaro.
A lot of moving, a lot of shaking in this back half of the field as the front half just stays stacked up nose to tail, and this outside line trying to gain a little bit of momentum. But you can see how much momentum Gerwitz has. He's made that outside line work, and he's pulled himself up to the back of this line, and he's not didn't look quite content there. But he said makes a better judgment of it, especially lap 9 here to go ahead and tuck in and ride behind at the end of this outside line.
Yeah, just look at the difference in momentum right there. He is charging to the front with how much faster that outside lane is. And yeah, you're exactly right. On the audio on that onboard cam, you could definitely hear how hesitant he was in the gas. And now he goes right to the outside lane here and got a lot of help with him too.
A lot of help, as I saw, I think the 65 there jump from the bottom line, go all the way to the top, and thought better and came right down.
Oh, you got to commit to that.
Yeah, yep, got to commit, got to stay there. But the 64 saw that outside, that far outside third lane moving. He jumped from the bottom all the way out there and then stayed kind of in the middle here as the number 9 is going to get shuffled out. That's a bad feeling because you're just going to go all the way to the back.
Yep.
Get back in line and get the momentum built back up.
That's good practice, though, as far as setting yourself up for the end of the race. So now he knows how quickly he can make that happen and what moves he needs to do. Maybe he wanted to go to the back, though, but you could tell he was a little hesitant getting in front of that 45 because it was tight. He had the room, but he got back out of the way and paid the price for it. So out in front, though, Joseph Causey surging with the big push that this outside lane is having right now. And, man, they just cleared 4 or 5 cars.
All 5 or 6 of them dropped down to the bottom in front of that line of JW Racing guys as they kind of got stacked up there a little bit, kind of an accordion effect, and they kind of broke their momentum. So that puts this team of Tink all the way down on the bottom line, and they're going to be tough to beat on that bottom line.
Yeah, this is Nichols' view now. He's a little bit different not too long ago, 1 lap ago exactly, and now this is what he's dealing with 1 lap later. People, everybody out in the crowd, welcome to Superspeedway Racing.
Yeah, and then there's the 64 Healy, who I said, made that big move to the outside, and it's pulled him all the way up, and then we have contact. Contact with one guy down on the inside. Markle.
Oh, more. That's Brian McAvoy. They save it. He's spinning. No caution yet as it's off the track below the yellow line.
Still, no, I'm surprised we still don't have a caution. Those drivers did a great job keeping it at just 3 cars as the 79 is still stuck. He's not going to bring in a caution.
Ed Shearer.
This is going to bring in a caution. Shearer gets turned around.
And looking like nobody else might have been involved there. That was a solo crash, which is shocking considering where it happened in the field.
Both of them are shocking. For one, that only 3 cars were involved in the early wreck, that only 1 was involved in this wreck. I have a feeling that initial wreck kind of stacked up the field, and it got a little hairy coming out of 4.
So Ed Shearer will be on the bottom line here below Scott Healy. He got back just in time to see this, and Scott just gets in. Looks like he was going to side draft and hooks the 45, and everybody clears.
Wow.
And that is shocking.
And I'm not sure who that was that cleared on the bottom there real late. Barely got through. Should have a really good in-car on that one. This is a 40 to 45 possibly. May have been Justin Wright. I was going to get a good look at this. And bouncing down off the wall. And You just see him coming and takes it down pit lane.
Yeah, iRacing's not going to like that, but the admins are going to cut him some slack there.
Right.
And, yeah, let's see who else we can ride on board with because, man, that was wild. Let's see what Drew Ballesteros saw. Actually,
I can't believe he had a gap to come down off the wall in between, you know, the top line, let alone the bottom as well.
So here's Mike Mosby, the 99 machine, a little bit further back. Woo!
Oh man, there's nothing you do.
I think he froze right there.
Yeah. Well, you can't go left, you can't go right. You got cars all around you. You just gotta hope that guy's not there on the track when you get there.
Oh boy, man, that was crazy. But that's going to bring each and every driver down pit road to top off on fuel, it looks like. So we'll see how and who does what strategy. A lot of strategies to be played here.
A lot of strategies. Are we going to see any two tires and fuel? Because I can't imagine they had much fuel to have to put in. As I see, 4 tires going up here on the 42, but based on some of those fast pit stops, I'm assuming maybe some of those guys might have just took 2 in fuel.
Yeah, I'm seeing 7-second pit stops. I'm seeing 9 and 10-second pit stops, and I'm seeing full pit stops as well. But that's going to put the 55 out in front of this thing, followed by Joseph Causey here. So new leader here in Talladega. But that's going to give us the perfect opportunity to step aside and run a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
All right, back out here at Talladega Superspeedway. A lot of cars, well, every car coming down pit road, and that shakes things up a little bit. We got a new leader, the 55 of Jordan Sailors. Pace car lights are off. We're getting ready to get this thing back underway, but a lot happening on that last lap under green, and a lot of cars getting some damage fixed.
A lot of cars getting damage fixed, a lot of teammates getting shuffled up, this complete field getting shuffled up.
Yep.
So a lot to sort out in these next early parts of this next run here, if you will.
Well, keep an eye out for 2 teams in particular. There are 3 tank racing cars of Joseph Causey, Emerson Ardon, and Seth Berger in the top 6. And then you got Scott Kalal, Aaron Gerwitz, and Rob Besaw Jr. That's 3 Phoenix cars in the top 9. So we're going to have a lot of teamwork here, and those 2 teams could be commanding these lines here before too long.
Commanding those lines and see how fast teammates line up behind them. And given how aggressive that first run was, is that going to change anybody's strategy? And guys, I thought they wanted to be running up front, maybe dropping back. Well, lots to think about coming up on this next green flag.
Always a lot to think about when you're super speedway racing. That's kind of the thing that I always tell people. Yeah, it's kind of easy to race it, but it's more of the mental mind game that you're dealing with here constantly as a driver, and that's about to ramp up again as they approach that Geico restart zone, and the Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waves once again here at Talladega.
And immediately somebody getting shuffled out of line as the outside line kind of stacks up and doesn't get started off right away, but Causey is able to get jumped out to the lead on that outside line. Not a lot of help, and he realizes that and is going to drop down immediately and leave the 5 out there kind of on an island waiting for some draft help, and nobody from the bottom line is going to go up there and help him right now.
Yeah, we saw this happen last time where that outside lane kind of fell back. Jordan Saylor is going to jump to that high line to try and lead it, and goes right to the outside of Joseph Causey, but I think that was kind of a mistake because that links up 3 tank racing drivers now. Joseph Causey, Emerson Ardon, and Seth Berger all nose to tail as they come out of turn number 4.
Those guys were really hard to beat when they were on the outside. Let's see what they can do on the inside as the field stays 2 by 2 all the way back. We do have 3 wide there at the very end of the field, but for the most part 2 by 2 as we come back to the line.
Yeah, so Joseph Causey going to lead this lap. Emerson Ardon pushing real hard on the Pit Stop TV sponsored number 57. But looking like they might start feeling it out up there on that high lane. Looking like Latham's starting to get more comfortable with Jordan Saylor's in that 55. Scott Kalal, the 3rd car in lane, and David Duke fresh back off the streets, and he's got his setup all back in order in his office and right back to the front. He's sitting there in 9th, 4th car in line on that outside lane.
And the outside inside lane kind of just a little give and go here as they're just kind of pushing back and forth. Outside lane getting a little bit more run off. Inside lane's been able to hold on, but right now it's all about those tank guys on the bottom. As you can see, Ardon there getting aggressive, even pushing through the tri-oval, which is a really sketchy part to be pushing. That's how you know it's a teammate, because nobody else would feel comfortable doing that right now.
Yeah, there's no way to like kind of show it here as we're watching, but if you have a wheel in hand going through that little tri-oval part, it is very bumpy and aggressive on the wheel, and it doesn't feel any better when you're being pushed through it. So, yeah, you definitely got to have someone you trust. And, I mean, look at these guys. They are getting away from the rest of the field. Aaron Gerwitz, 4th car in line on the inside lane, followed by his teammate Rob Besaw there. So they're starting to feel it out, too. Why not follow the tank guys? Looking good so far.
Absolutely, and even Berger there is struggling to kind of keep up. You never want to push the pusher if you're the 3rd car in line, but you want to keep it as close as possible. But you never want to push the pusher. As Berger finally is able to kind of break that bubble that we talked about and pull just a little bit closer. But Ardon is just shoving Causey all the way around the track.
Yeah, that's just the rule that as a super speedway driver, you just have to learn it, I guess. And then once you learn it, you know it for good. But definitely don't push the pusher. Wow, look at that field back there. Johan Seminario on the outside. Scott Kalal in the middle. That's David Duke on the inside behind Dave Fuge Jr. heating up here in the mid-pack.
I think what happened was that outside line was struggling to keep up with those tank drivers underneath, and some of those guys on the outside got a little frustrated. So if you can't keep up with them, maybe we can. And some guys are moving around up here trying to make a pack that can keep up with these tank guys on the inside.
Yeah, I apologize if you see any issues with the graphics here, and it might be an issue with the update that we recently had for the new season that we're on here in iRacing. So hopefully they'll get that hashed out by the next time we go on air. Not too bad though for race. That's putting on some great entertainment here tonight. And the leader on lap 19, Joseph Causey in that 88.
And this inside line is just really doing a good job staying formed up some 10, 12 cars deep before you start getting to that outside line that's finally got a little bit of momentum. I think if they can get a side draft going, they can start pulling themselves up. But I see now 3 different teams. Let's see, Tank, Phoenix. I see some JW guys. So this inside line consisting of 3 teams, outside line kind of shuffled pack trying to all get up and get formed up.
Yeah, so that outside line led by Alonzo King here in the 80, another Phoenix virtual driver making his way up towards the front. Most of them starting in the back here tonight. He's up 27 positions and wants a few more. Look at the momentum. This is the same thing we saw with Causey when he's being pushed by his teammates. They're going straight to the front right now.
As soon as they start getting that side draft and get formed up, that's something everybody's going to make a note of. When you start talking about, when it gets to the end of the race, when can I make the run? How long it's going to take? Obviously, if you can get formed up here real quick, you can move your way up through this field. We've seen it twice now where the second line was some 12, 13 cars back just a half a lap ago, and they're able to pull themselves forward and get lined up nose to tail with the leaders.
Well, Alonzo King takes the lead from the leaders, goes down to the inside lane. Always something you have to battle with in your mind. Do you bail on the guy that pushed you there? So Michael Politis now with the advantage on the outside lane, being pushed by Johan Seminario. Alonzo King leading the inside lane. Been super entertaining tonight. A bunch of lead changes and a new leader out in front.
And these tank guys aren't real through with them. I mean, look at Causey just giving the bumper to Seminario there, or sitting there there's a King there on the inside, just moving them all over the place. He does not like that he is there. He wanted him and his tank guys to be running that bottom line, and he's giving King everything to hold on to there to give him the idea of, hey, you may want to go back out to that outside line.
Yeah,
and King right now, it's almost like the last lap where he's going back and forth trying to figure out which line's got the most momentum. And that can cause a lot of trouble this late as well.
Yeah, he's about to get the push of a lifetime, I think, because I think Causey now wants to clear his teammates of that outside lane, and then they move to the outside because they have Reese Schaefer in line too. They got 4 cars on that inside lane if they can get ahead of Alonzo King out in front of that inside line. So looking like Politis might be able to clear him now in the 6. Will he go down low?
He's going to keep it to the outside. He had a second to do it, and that's the other thing about speedway racing. You have a little bit, you have that little moment to do something. If you don't take it right away, it's gone. You've got to stay in line, and wow, look at these guys getting real tight coming off of 4.
Yeah, there might have been a little bit of pushing in the turns there, something you're never thrilled about, but King is going to have to deal with it because all is fair in super speedway racing. Big push there for Politis from Seminario. Trying to clear that inside lane again, but can't do it just yet. Skip Gandy making an appearance here in the top 6. That third car in line, man, he is having a good night for Bobby Anderson Racing so far here in that 14.
Yeah, I can't get over how hard these guys are pushing through that trial. We talked about it before. You mentioned it being a little bumpy. It's not that it's also real bumpy. If you're on that inside line, you have a real hard time seeing that line and seeing when to turn down. And also, when you're in that lead car getting pushed, you get real light. The steering gets real light. The car gets real loose. And this might be okay. You just had pit stops. A lot of guys took tires. I'm not sure how long they can, keep pushing this hard in the trioval.
Yeah, right there.
Right there. You see him having to correct the car, drifted. Yeah, see, getting that push.
Woo! I don't like that camera.
No. Especially right around that Geico restart zone. You saw him almost like a dirt car or drift car having to turn the wheel to the right to keep it going left.
Oh, there he goes.
And yeah, I think King's going to think better of it.
He is being pushed right now. So will somebody go down low? They're going to have to do it. And there goes Politis.
And he's going to drop down, and he's going to say, I'll run up front here with these guys for a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't mind. He'll take the lead on that inside lane. The 6 out in front for Gear Up Motorsports. So looking good in the 6 machine for Michael Politis. But be careful. This could be the clearing I was telling you about. If all 4 of those tank cars can get that outside lane, they're going to take it. Ooh.
Oh, and Causey down to the apron there. And that's kind of what I was talking about, too. You get stuck right behind that car. Next time we go through, we see Causey's in car. So it's almost kind of like a blind corner going in there. You're just kind of following that 6 around, and if you turned a little bit too much too soon, and it's so easy to clip that apron and get that car turned around.
So those tank cars are clear of that outside lane. Will they go on by Politis here in the 6, or are they going to stay here?
I think they're content to hold this inside line. The thing about getting to that outside, they might be able to run to that outside and either maybe try to pull around Politis all as a train. But the other thing is you don't want to go to that outside and then get stuck out there when the next pit stop round comes, and then you're having to fight to the inside to get lined back up for pits. They may be content just knowing, hey, we're all lined up, we're all in the top here, and we're all lined up for the next pit. So we'll just be content to let anybody who drops down in front of us do so at your own risk.
Yeah, patience definitely pays off when it comes to the super speedways. Look at Alonso King, though, starting to get a little more momentum now from Johan Seminario pushing him. Rob Norfleet there in the 56. He's trying to get up here with his Gear Up Motorsports teammate, Michael Politis there. And then Matt Dula there in the 41. It's a mixed bag here on the outside lane.
Yeah, mixed bag, trying to all work together and get up with these tank guys being led by Politis. And I guarantee there's a lot of talking amongst these teams in the Discord of, okay, where is everybody? Where are you at? Where am I at? Where can we get lined up? And that's exactly what these guys are going to be talking about right now, trying to find each other to get lined up and try to compete with these tank guys on the inside. And I was wondering if Joseph Collins could keep that nose out that time and a little bit to the outside. I was wondering how long he was going to be able to push Politis before he overheats, and you can see him finally having to back off, get some into that nose and cool that car down so he can pull back up and start pushing Politis around some more.
So 3 cars clearing.
Right onto that bumper.
Oh, Emerson Ardon. Oh, I thought he was going to take it outside for a second.
There might have been some talk about it because you could see Causey was thinking about going there as well. They thought better of it. But Politis is going to get that big shove that we saw King get through the tri-oval. He's going to keep it straight. As look at that inside line, just going to weave like a snake down there on the inside.
All right, now Politis feeling pretty good as it's not looking too racy. Ooh, we got the 24 Markle who was involved in that incident earlier. They're going to have to get by him. He's going to stay up high, but always concerning when you go 3 wide and a car off the pace like the 24, but looking like everyone's going to go ahead and squeak on by here.
Fortunately, the field caught him at a good spot where they're able to do it down the backstretch versus here in turns 3 and 4. Some of those guys have to go around him on the lower side, but you get the whole field catching him like that. Sometimes guys don't know they're up there and it can get a little dicey, but he'll go fall a lap down here and then tuck back in line, try to get it back the hard way, or at least stay up with his front pack.
And Alonzo King almost able to clear the 6 there. He can come down if he wants, but looking like he might stay up here with Seminario this time. Why not? You got another pink car in the field. You might as well stay with him. Both looking good out there on the outside lane. Norfleet, 3rd car in line on the outside. A little bit of a recording effect as the guys get a little loose coming out of 2, and that's a thing to take into consideration too as these cars start to get lighter on the fuel load. Ryan Johnson, big hit back there.
Saw Ryan Johnson get in the wall. I think he was able to correct it. He's going to come back up onto the track and not collect anybody else. He might have just gotten to that wall a little. I don't see a totaled car. He's obviously well off the pace.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back and figure out what just happened here. See if we can figure.
Looks like he's fighting that wheel to where he's got enough damage. He's going to have to come into the pits.
Ryan Johnson here. We'll go right back to the action as we take a look at this admin box wreck replay. Looks like it's just a big stack up here.
Yeah, big according effect. He kind of bounced off the 9 in front of him a couple times, the 55 behind him, and he was the one that just unfortunately was the most squirrely when the additional contact was made and kind of sent him out to the wall.
Yeah, nothing you can do. Nothing. You can't even see out your windshield ahead of the guy ahead of you, so no way of telling unless you got all your teammates in front of you, but it just happened so quickly, and unfortunately he got the worst end of the stick there and is on pit road currently, still getting those that damage fixed on that 43 machine. So looking like Ryan might be using a drop week here at Talladega tonight.
And what that did was it shuffled the numbers amongst the lines from those guys getting kind of having all check up. So that changed the momentum of all these lines, and you see Causey and Ardon were able to push themselves back up to the front. So that tank guys are still back together, and now we have a pack of some, 10, 12, maybe 20, 15, 20 cars here breaking away from a pack that had to check up a little bit. If these guys get tucked in line, they can maybe move away from the second pack and leave them behind. The guys in that second pack are doing a good job of forming up as fast as they can to try to draft back up to these guys.
I'm laughing right now because I think we're about to have a 4-on-4 battle here. The cars on the outside lane, well, now joined by the 42 of Nichols. The front four of that outside lane, all Phoenix Virtual Racing cars. And the bottom four on that inside lane, all Tank Racing cars. So we're about to have a great battle for the lead as Alonzo King really pushing B-Saw here in that 28.
B-Saw doing a great job keeping it straight, keeping it going, and moving that back line. Here we go again. We see them once they get momentum and they can get that speed and that better corner exit, they're going to pull all the way, not just even, but push B-Saw to the lead.
Something you could see is maybe see B-Saw go down to the bottom and control that inside lane, and then maybe see 3 Phoenix cars up on the outside lane, but looking like they're going to stay all intact here on that outside lane as we get ever so close to that halfway mark here at the Talladega 195 here tonight. Great race so far. There he goes.
Phoenix.
Ooh, he did.
Yep,
Got to commit.
Thinking about it. Yep, that's just it. He missed it. He missed his moment to commit, so he's going to get shuffled back, kind of stall that outside line. What Phoenix might have been trying to do there is, ideally, you would have pushed 2 cars ahead there and put 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, so that way you control the lines, but you control the pushers as well, as I believe 2 JW guys are way to the outside. They're going to have a lot of speed and momentum coming up as they get a teammate now. 3 JW guys looking to maybe make the far third line work coming into 3.
Yeah, Drew Ballesteros 1 lap down, but I think that car is fine. I think he just lost the pack here on this long green run, and that's all it takes is like 20 laps, and you're going to get lapped here by the leaders, and nothing you can do about it. But single file here for the Tank Racing, 4 teammates out in front. First car in line behind them, looking like that's going to be Johan Seminario, 5th car in line on that inside lane. But as they start to form back up on the outside, Alonzo King
got to get a big push here through 1 and 2. And can they get that speed and momentum coming off of 3 as Ardon has got to kind of get off of Causey there. Not a good time for the inside line for Ardon to have to cool that engine just as King and that outside line was getting momentum.
Yeah, if Causey wins this race here tonight, I imagine Emerson's going to get a big shout out because Emerson is just right on the bumper of that 88, pushing like the best out there. That is not a bad teammate to have, so it's going to be hard to get by him. But right as you see that, you got a lap car here that could factor into things, looking like they might go ahead and opt to go on that third lane on the outside and let these guys on by, but still a tough spot here coming up through the turn.
And not just Ardon that Causey would have to thank. It was also, we saw Berger pushing Causey. So really it's just been whatever teammate behind him, they've been giving him a big push as that lap car is going to stay to the inside and stay, not even drop down off the apron. That's really going to cause a big a shuffle on the inside. I'm sure there's some talk about that move. But
I'm sure people are not a fan of that. But, hey, yeah, there's no rule against it. So, Byron McDonald going to go ahead and stay in his lane.
There's no rule against it. And ideally, he chose a lane and stayed with it.
Yep.
And he didn't bounce around. So, as the leaders, that's all you can really ask for is pick a lane and stay in it. It's up to the leaders to get around them. So, all is fair there. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
As we stay with these top 5-6 cars now.
Yeah, he's my buddy. He's a former broadcaster up here in the SRN broadcast booth, so I have to give him a little bit of grief for that, Byron McDonald. But yeah, no harm, no foul. He's going to be that second car a lap down, though. Drew Ballesteros gets in front of him, so that's going to be important to take into account once we maybe have another caution. So far, 1 on the night here, I do believe, if I'm correct. 1 caution so far, so great race here as this lap will be the halfway mark. Joseph Causey out in front.
Yeah, that's another thing that lap car was also thinking about, knowing that there was already a lap car sprinkled into this pack. He had to try to get in line ahead of that other lap car if possible, because right now they're fighting for the lucky dog.
Yeah, lucky.
That ends. Yeah, I have to say the inside line starting to form up here as King's losing a bunch of pushers, bunch of help.
So, yeah, we're getting close to that spot, though, in the race where you're going to have to pick out a point. These guys still need to make 1 stop to get to the end. So right now, Tank feeling really good because they're going to have 4 cars that come down together. They're going to have good draft help throughout the course of that. They can pretty much choose the pit whenever they want. They don't need to go with the pack, but a lot of these guys are going to have to start feeling out when everybody else is going to go because, like I keep saying, it's a mixed bag throughout the rest of this top 20.
and you've got to pit as a group, on and off as a group. So you guys get spread out. Where we see this race won a lot is what group of cars, whether they be a team or whether it be a mixed bag, what group of cars can get on the pit road and off of pit road together as a team. So even if cars are spread out, 0.3 of a, or 0.7 of a second, 3/4 of a second or more, it takes a while for all those cars to get bunched back up, get in line, get a draft going. As we see more and more cars now kind of deciding to duck to this inside line, I wonder if we're starting to get close to pits. That's usually a sign when you see guys start almost forcing themselves, or as soon as there's a moment to get down on the inside. I think there's some discussion now amongst teammates and amongst the rest of the field about possible pit stops coming as we're getting close to the golden fuel lap, if you will. From this point forward, they can make it on a tank of fuel, as I think we're getting close to that as we see more and more guys fighting for real estate on the inside.
It is kind of funny. That's just a telltale sign. When pit stops are coming, because it's going to single file out here. A few guys left on the outside lane. Looks like Joseph DuPont, one of them. He's going to have to pick a spot, and it's going to be hard to find a spot. Looks like I think that's Dula there with him in the 41. Yeah. So those two cars on the outside still. Dula gets a spot with his teammates here. Joseph DuPont, he's going to have to be nice to someone. Hopefully they'll let him in. But other than that, he's pretty much on his own.
And what this creates is teammates obviously know when they're going to pit. The other teams, maybe not so team by team, you might not know when somebody's going to pit, but all of a sudden cars will duck down. You might say, yeah, we're pitting, but if you're going to call it out, usually you call it out as late as possible to avoid wrecks. But then independent drivers and other guys kind of have to sense and feel that out. And, when are they going to duck down? And it can create a real interesting pit entry.
There they go on by the whole field, pretty much single filed out, and then a second pack coming on by this time. This pack's got about 10 cars in it or so, so two pretty big packs that are pretty far separated apart right now. That pack's about 9 seconds back, and that's going to be hard to gain on these guys, but it's about to get all split up once these guys come down pit road. You have to nail it. And also, not to mention, these guys probably don't take tires under green flag, and coming off pit road on worn tires, not a fun time.
Absolutely. When you're on that apron trying to get every bit you can, get that car up to speed as fast as you can, it can get real dicey on that apron. Loop it, cause a wreck, and here we go. As you see all the tank guys drop down to the inside. And the 17 making up all kinds of time. If he didn't get a speeding penalty there, what a heck of a job getting to pit road.
Yeah, some guys really practice it, and that makes you some big-time ground. Right now, Alonzo King is going to hurt because of this. A lot of the front coming down that time. They got about 9 or 10 cars. JW coming down, Tank, all of Tank coming down, and a few bar cars coming down as well. That cost him because he lost the draft there. So, yeah, we'll see how it works out for this 80.
And you saw with the Tank guys, it's also impressive when you see teammates pit and, they're pitting. You saw the lead car there kind of stay to the outside. The second car dropped way down low, and they gave all of the cars space between them. They'd all try to follow each other nose to tail. See, these guys are kind of fanning out, trying to give each other as much room as they can to get down, stay as fast as you can, and brake as late as you can, and not lock them up. Wow. I mean, there was a lot of tire smoke. That was impressive for all those guys. 2 or 3 of those guys locking up those tires. Nobody getting squirrely. Everybody getting down to the line as fast as possible.
Wow.
If that group can get out as well as they went in, that can make they could have made some time up on that 9 seconds.
Yeah, so that was an impressive stop to say the least, and even worked it out on pit road. When you're 3 wide, you got to get to your stall. You got to figure that out. You can definitely still make contact. Now, once you're in the stalls, iRacing kind of cheats you a little bit. You can drive through the cars, but when you're on pit lane, you can definitely still make contact, and looks like everybody going to make it on out here. So it looks like we got 3 drivers: Brad Herman, Timothy Latham, Lane Hostler. That's pretty much all you got out here. They're going to come down this time. Skip Gandy, I believe that is back there. Might have been Dave Hughes Jr., actually. That's the 4th car back there. He's all by himself, so he's going to be in some trouble. Once this thing gets sorted out, though, these guys going to be the leaders. Reese Schaefer out in front. Could he get his first win here in 2 seasons? Just a hell of a drought for Reese Schaefer with how impressive his finishing results have been all season long. Could tonight be the night for the 17?
And if he wins this race, he didn't win it on the track. He won it on that pit road entrance, drove it way deep down in that line, past some 3 or 4 of those tank guys. I think he was second technically on the pit road as he drove that thing real deep and bogged it down way late. Didn't lock up the tires or anything, and that was a heck of a pit stop there for the 17, and that's what's put him out in front.
Looking like everybody taking 4 tires and fuel, so looking like that old strategy where you can stay on old tires out the window. Everybody opting to take 4 tires. So it's an 8-car breakaway. You got Schaefer, Berger, Causey, Ardon, and Shearer. An all-tank top 5, Skip Gandy, Johan Seminario, Matt Dula. This is your lead pack. The rest of the top 10 going to be Rob Esau and Alonzo King as well. So with that round of green flag stops concluded, we're going to step aside, take a quick commercial break, and come back with the exciting conclusion of the 195 here at Talladega.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today, and maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you. Back out here at Talladega, new leader coming back from the break, Joseph Causey out in front, pushed to the front by Ed Shearer, so still on all tank racing top 5. We were kind of surprised to see that move, and then we started talking about it. I wonder if they're a little tight on fuel here, where Reese Schaefer might have needed to save a little bit by running a little less throttle on these back straightaways and front straightaways and all this. Pretty much third place, you can kind of cruise running half to 3/4 throttle. I wonder if fuel's going to play in a factor here.
Yeah, if we see Causey jump out a line or kind of move out, let Shearer jump in or something, we might see the fuel, or it may be a situation where Causey's the most comfortable getting pushed, and they practice that, and teammates will kind of know, okay, who's our best pusher, who likes being pushed, who can handle the most of it. So just maybe a situation where Causey's the best at getting pushed, and if somebody gets a little squirrely behind her, you see Shearer kind of driving a little bit down to the apron there. He's kind of the best at handling some, the unfortunate odd push at the wrong place or something like that. But these guys are just all lined up, just cruising and really just daring these next 4 or 5 cars behind them to go ahead and try to make a move.
Yeah, I don't know what you do if you're Skip Gandy, Johan Seminario, or Matthew Dula back there, because you're exactly right. It's going to be hard move to get by these guys. Let's check in on that second pack here. They are making up a little bit of ground here. Kind of goes back and forth, staying around 5 seconds behind our leaders currently. Showing 6 here on the tower. Beastall being pushed by his teammate Alonzo King. Rob Norfleet there. He's in 11th, third car in line. Corey Saucier, he's that fourth car in 12th. Aaron Gerwitz, Brandon Domain, Mike Mosby, all in this line.
Yeah, for these guys to really catch up, you're really going to need King to be pushed up on that bumper, and then those 5th, 6th, 7th cars back there to really tighten it up, try to get this thing as tight as possible going around, and you don't expect those front cars to really break up yet. And then we have another group here trying to do the exact same thing. At this point, you're just staying in line, trying to make up as much time or not to lose time as much as you can. And at this point, these guys hoping for a caution here.
Yeah, some names to take note of here that are running towards the back of the pack. I mean, it's a tight race here in the playoffs, so we'll see if anybody is able to make up some ground. I mean, you got Skip Gandy down there in 27th, who's 45 points back. He's currently running 6th, and liking where he's running here can make up some serious ground in that 14 tonight if he stays right where he's at. Alonzo King there in 10th. He's 15 points back of this cut line. Could have a good night in store if he stays where he's at. So a lot on the line. This is a time where guys can make up a lot of ground on the rest of the pack. If they've had a rough start to this season, this could be a turnaround point for a lot of these guys.
And you also got to think about how aggressive do you want to get if you're one of these guys sitting, near or below the cut in a good finishing spot right now. Do you just kind of say, hey, right now fifth and 6th is good enough right now, and not get too aggressive? I don't think we'll see anybody behind these front 4 tank guys make a move for at least another 10 or so laps, and then who's going to want to be the aggressor to try to do it, and are any of these other guys just content to finish where they are, if you will? So we're all racers at heart. We all want to get to that checkered flag, but there is a big picture of making points, and at a race like this, that, like you said, it's almost like playing bingo. You take these cars, like bingo balls, you put them in, you shuffle them up, and see who falls out the bottom. A top 5, top 10 of one of these races. It's a big win.
Yeah, it felt like a win last week in my race at Talladega, getting the 4th place position. Just surviving these feels like a win, and then you just feel out where you finish at the end. It gets certainly exciting in those last 5 laps. So we'll see if the rest of the field can maybe catch up to these leaders, but having a tough time doing just that. Beastall still about 6 seconds back of this lead pack, and they're not looking like they are slowing down by any means. So 24 laps to go. We're officially 2/3 of the way through this race. The laps are ticking off as you see Nichols going below the apron there.
Yeah, he got a little loose, kind of a little bit of an accordion effect as this front line kind of checked up there a little bit coming out of the corner. Dula, yeah, got a little tight coming off the corner there, and that now I think we're seeing why 4 tires were so important, because as we get down here, these guys are really fighting these cars around a little bit in this draft. These cars are moving all around on them a bit.
Yeah, and you can't lose too much ground on this field. I'm starting to get a little nervous as the 14 separates from the 57. You get a little bit too much of a gap, you'll lose that draft completely in these Gen 7 cars. So they've got to be careful of what's happening right now. Tank could be pulling away on their own.
Yeah, these guys are getting dangerously closer. They're catching the draft now, kind of pulling back up, but they were dangerously close to losing that draft for sure.
Yeah, so looking like they will survive that little scare. I'm not sure, though. It's still not really sucking back up to the 57 there, and that's another thing with these cars. The draft is not the same as the Gen 6 car whatsoever. So if anybody is kind of new to Superspeedway racing here tonight, they're going to have a master class of how to get it done with these tank racing drivers out in front, because they are putting on a clinic right now.
And those guys are just keeping it straight, keeping it on the bottom. You see the guys behind them kind of struggling on corner X on some of these, getting a little bit tight. But these tank drivers just keeping it right on the apron, keeping it in line, going around real smooth.
It's 22 to go.
As now those lap cars kind of come and play at the back half of that line.
These guys are making up some ground now.
Just a little bit, yeah. That breakup of the back cars there able to keep these guys kind of in check a little bit. And then now they're falling back to almost 7 seconds as they kind of got out of line themselves for a little bit.
That's pretty much whoever we put on camera right now. We're going to kind of mess up their draft a little bit. But, yeah, we want to see these guys catch up and have a great run to the end, but not seeing any advantages to this second pack right now. But you got a mixed bag of teams here at the front, but two teammates, Alonzo King and Rob Besaw, working together right now. 56 trying to get real tight here. Corey Saucier trying to get tighter up there. They tighten up. There's still enough time to maybe see a run.
Yeah, King and Besaw are doing a great job. King's doing a great job pushing Besaw as hard as he can, but unfortunately for this line, you don't see where Berger's really tight up as that third car, the 56 there, trying to keep in line. The cars 3, 4, 5, 6 just aren't as tight as that front pack. So they're not losing a lot, but they're not really gaining it either. It's kind of stuck right here at 6 seconds back.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the delta there, but that last half a lap alone, yep, they've caught up a half a second. So they know how to get it done. They just got to put it together lap after lap. And if they do that, we see that gap there for Besaw. That's going to slow them down a little bit, but right back to the bumper is going to be the 80. And you got to be right on the bumper of this 28, right out of 2, pushing down that whole back straightaway. That's where you got to be. That bubble right there between the 28 and 80, not going to help him right now.
No, he wants to be right on that bumper, and you're just telling Besaw, hold on, because here it comes. Because you can't afford to duck out of line. If you get a big run, you can't afford to do anything but put the bumper to that 28 car. He's able to push him a little bit, but wasn't able to kind of pop that bubble. But they are still now sub 6 seconds and falling slightly. So these guys might be able to push it a little bit real hard. That's what I was talking about. You don't have a choice at this point. You know that if you move to the outside, under normal circumstances, you get a big run like that, and you might try to make the pass, but all you got to do is slow these guys up more. Right now, all these guys can do is King has just got to keep laying the bumper to Besaw as hard as he can going around this track.
Yeah, these guys are all in the same Discord together, so you can kind of tell him when he's going to get that bump here, even if it's in the turns like you typically don't like as a driver, but big shove right here. That's going to be key to catching up to this front pack, and you can just hear the RPMs elevate a little bit as those two link up together. Separates going through the turns. It's going to try and get right back on the bumper on the exit of 4.
The other thing to think about is I believe this group pitted a lap or 2 behind the leaders. How tight are the leaders? Did they get the window right? We did see them shuffle up their leader, if you will, in the front. So were they worried that maybe Schaefer there didn't get a full fuel to keep up with the guys? So did this tank? Did they hit the pit strategy perfect? Did they hit the window perfect? Or did we see that 6 second delta kind of fall a little bit because these guys maybe checked up just a little bit? Right now, it looks like they're pushing hard. No signs of fuel being an issue.
So last race of the year for the Cup Series guys here. As far as 2022 goes, next race going to be January 3rd for the Hoosier 110 out at the Indianapolis road course. So that'll be a blast. That's a fun road course to go to. These guys are going to put on a great show, as always, looking to see the heavyweight Schumacher out there. Maybe he can get his second win on the season at a road course, one at Chicago Street Course earlier in the year. So he'll be licking his chops once we get back after the holiday season. So definitely come on back with 2 more races this week. The truck's going to be out at New Hampshire tomorrow. So if you like what you're watching here tonight, been a super entertaining race, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you know exactly when we go live tomorrow. Sean Griffith and Brandon Domain will have the call for the Granite 100. But still, we have 16 laps to go once these guys cross the line here. And it's going to be an exciting finish nonetheless. Which teammate's going to get it at this point?
And unfortunately for that second group, this lead pack caught a group of 3 or 4 lap cars and were able to get a tow and get a little bit of a draft for the leader, gain a little speed. And unfortunately for the second group, that group of lap cars linked onto the back of this front group to where they didn't fall back far enough for the second group to be able to get kind of the same slingshot pass. And that pulled them up now back to that 6.5 second mark.
Yeah, so a bigger pack out in front, not going to help those guys in that second pack. Skip Gandy, though, they're getting to that danger point to where they will lose that draft. I'm not playing. They will absolutely lose this draft in this Gen 7 car, so they have got to be careful with how much distance they have between these or themselves and the tank guys, because those tank guys are tight here in the top 5.
But it's interesting that they're not losing it because they're getting squirrely. I'm wondering if they're checking up a little bit to try to save. If they're worried and hoping that these guys run out of fuel, and they're playing kind of the cat and mouse game of fall back as far as I can, kind of, because what you can do sometimes in these races, you can fall back, get on the throttle to just make sure you still have the draft. You'll see him pull up a little bit, then fall back and pull, let me pull up, make sure I still have the draft. And these guys might be trying to save a little back here as well, because it is interesting to see them drop back when they are. It isn't because they're racing back here or anything else. It's almost like they're just willing to fall back a little. And as you can see here, get on throttle, kind of make sure he still has that draft, kind of start pulling up to that car in front of him. But he's not really trying to pull right to the back of the bumper there. He's kind of letting off, and now finally getting back to that full tow from the draft.
Yeah, if you're Skip Gandy, you're feeling pretty good right now. Nobody on your bumper. You're not on anybody's bumper. You're feeling pretty safe with 14 laps to go here in 6th. A good points night for that 14 out of Bobby Anderson Racing if he can keep it there. And has some help, too. I mean, yeah, we got the top 5 as tank cars, but catching those lappers might pay off for the 14 or, say, a 12, a Johan Seminario. So we'll see how it works out.
And another thing you're almost forced to do if you're the 6th car in line there behind 5 teammates is you almost want to kind of stay where he's at. Because coming to the white flag, you want to be getting that full run. So, going down to that white flag, he might be trying just to leave just enough of a gap so that figuring that the front 4 might go too wide for the win. And if you've got that full tow off that 5th car, when those front 4 cars split and kind of stall for a second, then you'll get their draft and the next draft and the next draft, and you can come up with a lot of momentum. That's really his only chance right now. If he's right on the bumper of that 5th car when those other 4 cars split, he's just going to stall out with them. He's going to try to time that run as we have pit stops.
Yeah, pit stops for Nichols, ride out. Scott Kalal have to wonder now if we were right. Could we see another pit stop in the works here? We didn't know the whole fuel run going in. We went in with no notes tonight, so we're kind of just riding along with you guys at home, seeing how it works out. And, yep, everybody coming down here.
Everybody's pitting. Leaders are pitting, so these guys, they could not make it all the way.
Ooh, Causey getting everything he can. You got to be careful coming onto this pit road. Looking like each and every guy. Oh, we got one in the grass back there.
Locking him up, sliding through the grass.
Is he going to
get it? McDonald, is he going to get it righted before his pit stall, or is he going to have to go all the way around? I think he blew past his pit stall. He did.
Already a lap down. He's going to go even more now with that happening. The new leader, Rob Beastall, out in front, pushed by his teammate, Alonzo King. Oh, dicey moment here.
Cars coming on, cars coming off, trying to get up to speed. These guys trying to move their way around. And I bet they're trying to get down to pit road as well, but they've got 3 JW guys trying to get up to speed below them.
Yeah, this could break things up. Gerwit's going to have to try and get down. Brandon Domain as well. They're going to stay out another lap because they can't. So the Phoenix Virtual Racing team going to have to go one more lap around this circuit before they can make their final stop on the night.
Let's see what that early pit stall did to that JW team. JW Racing the benefit of that because now they get to tow around and get up to a big draft.
Split them up, though.
Around these Phoenix guys. It did split them up a bit, didn't it?
It did, and Reese Schaefer is back in 26th position with a 48-second lap time. So not sure if he was busted for speeding or what, but 17 now back in 26th, well off the pace, facing going a lap down here soon.
Oh man, he's probably in a situation where he nailed it so well the first time, tried to get that little bit extra the second time, and it cost him.
Yeah, so he's only about 10 seconds ahead of this lead pack, but this is going to change things up here. And that's what happens with these pit stops. And that's why we love green flag pit stops here. So 2 tank cars out in front, followed by the 12 of Johan Seminario. Matt Dula going to be the 4th car in line there. And then Skip Gandy going to be 5th. Emerson Ardon now back there as well. So Seth Berger got split up too. He's well back of his teammates too. So only 3 tank cars out there.
Wow, so I mean, these tank guys have just got to be so frustrated not knowing they had this thing, all 5 of their cars locked up, but they all got broken up. And I tell you what, if you're in front of that, if you're in front of Seth Berger, just hold on, because you're gonna get a heck of a push. If I was in this race, I would have wrote down notes before, like, Berger's a good pusher, because we've seen him just move those cars all the way up to the field.
Yeah, so far, nobody budging on coming down pit road. Phoenix Virtual going to stay out there, but they got to get tightened up here. Very spread out amongst them all here. Corey Saucier leading that pack out in front of this thing. He's going to get that extra bonus point in that number 3. He's going to need every point as well. Currently 26th in the points. Wow, 3 wide decision there by Dave Fuge Jr. Almost real dicey there with Ryan Johnson for a second.
Yeah, we know Johnson has damage, so if he's kind of stuck there as a leader of the line, he can probably, maintain speed in the tow, but he gets stuck out as a leader, he just kind of bogs down, and I think he was way off the pace coming off the corner and kind of stacked everybody up.
So will we see our leaders come down this time with 9 to go? Yes. Looks like Phoenix Virtual going to come down with Corey Saucier as well. Oh, Corey at the grass.
I was about to say, I thought he looked a little hot coming in. I was going to be surprised if he didn't get a speeding penalty. If nothing else, he had to woe it down way off into the grass.
So that is going to give the lead over to Michael Politis out of Garrett Motorsports. He was out in front early on and fell back after getting shuffled out of that lead pack. And now that third pack is out in front of this thing, followed by Mike Mosby, Brandon Zimmerman there in the 65, Joseph DuPont, Blair Holloman, and Timothy Latham. You got Scott Healy a lap down, as well as Drew Ballesteros in this pack too. So they are probably going to come down this time. I can't imagine that they have very much fuel left.
Now, if memory serves me right, didn't we mention about how late Holloman, there was 3 cars, I believe the 10 of Holloman was one of them, that were real late to pit. I don't think they were 8 laps behind the rest of the field. But could anybody make it?
Ooh, whoa! Joseph DuPont into the wall there.
DuPont locks him up, takes the tow.
Unfortunate for the 1. He's going to go and have to spend a little bit of extra time on pit road, but new leader out in front of this thing, Mike Mosby. Whoa, Timothy Latham almost gets in front of him. Dicey racing here with the few left out there on the track that have yet to come down pit road, and just look at the momentum that they go right on by Mike Mosby.
Yeah, Mosby way off the pace. I'm not sure what happened there, if he got a push at the wrong time and kind of checked everybody up, or if he's struggling to get back to pit road.
Yeah, he is well off the pace. Have to imagine he's going to come down this time. He's got John Holliday just behind him. Nope, they're all going to stay out there, but that 3-car pack is charging right now. Joseph Causey, he's going to be the leader once this thing cycles out. Still got Ed Shearer just behind him. Johan Seminario in 5th place right now, but these guys can make it 6 more laps. They're going to be feeling pretty good in victory lane.
Yeah, did these guys, stay back and just fuel save for 6 laps? We're going to find out. Because with a 17-second lead, it's going to be hard for Causey, even under full throttle. But you figure Causey's under full throttle, and I don't see that time gap changing. So I got to believe Latham and Mosby here aren't really checking up much at all.
So Scott Kalal going a lap down. That'll be our 16th car a lap down. The first car a lap down, though, is going to be the 64 right here, Scott Healy. And he's going to get that lap back as Latham comes down in his Dodge Charger here, number 5 Dodge Charger. Always cool seeing that car.
And unfortunately for him, he's got only 1 car with him. That's a little bit back, so that he's almost basically going in lonely, coming out lonely. Yeah. And we're right back to where we were.
Yep, the field going right on by, and that's going to cycle the lead out, like I said, to Joseph Causey, who just always seems to find himself out in front of these races. 5 laps to go for the Talladega 195 here at Dayton.
This time only 2 tank guys leading it as we come down with 5 to go. So we should see a bit of a shuffle here at some point in the next, 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, you got to imagine. I mean, you feel like you got everybody with you when you have the tank racing guys out in front of you here at super speedways. They just dominate these things. They got to be careful because Reese Schaefer and Emerson Ardon linked up there. Schaefer not a factor as he's a lap down, but he could certainly still help his teammates. And there you go. All the tank racing guys are linked up once again.
Just like that. They found each other once again. That's just amazing.
That's where the communication comes into play here. These guys have done it multiple times, and they're going to clear that inside lane like it's nothing here and take absolute control of this race. Now, Reese Schaefer, first car a lap down now. He is the 22nd car on the standing sheet right now in the scoring tower, so he is kind of content right now. It's a double-edged sword. He wants a caution to come out, but he also wants his teammates to come away and dominate this thing here tonight.
And it almost seemed like Dula sensed it there because he kind of jumped out and just wasn't able to. He tried to break up that line and tried to jump out with those guys, just wasn't able to. And then he got stuck in the middle and almost lost the inside draft, so he had to jump back down.
Yeah.
But you can see Dula sensed it coming and did all he could to break up that line.
Yeah, there's no point. I mean, they're just going to go right to the outside of you regardless, and then you're just going to hurt yourself. So you see him coming, you got to set yourself up for the end of this race, and for that to happen, you got to be in the race. So we'll see. Lane Hostler going to be the next victim to go a lap down here in 21st position. So Lane Hostler falls behind Reese Schaefer. Reese still in contention for that lucky dog with 3 laps to go.
3 to go. Tank Racing leading the way. And I don't believe there's many more lap cars in front of them, because that could have got interesting to see if any more of these guys in this front line could pick up maybe some teammates as lap cars. But this field's got a big gap, I believe, to the next group. So it's going to have to take these tank guys breaking up, going for the win, for some of these other guys to have a chance to move up.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening. I think it's going to stay just like it is. We don't see them race each other typically at the end of these things. I mean, we could, but we'll see.
I think if they're going to have to do it, they're going to have to do it this lap. We did see early in the race that outside line, if it forms up, it can, move its way up, 6, 7, 8 cars. But it took about a half a lap to get lined up, then a half a lap to do it. So I don't think it's something they can wait till the white flag. I think if anybody wants to jump the outside, they need to do it now and try to start forming up that outside line and then get the momentum for that last lap.
Yeah, so the first car scored on the lead lap in that inside lane is going to be Johan Seminario. He's behind Markle there, and the Jeff Gordon painted number 24, so he's going to need to get some help from him, as well as Dula behind him. Skip Gandy also back there. A few other lap cars too. Lane Hostler, he's got some fast hot rods, but yeah, he's running out of time to do it. Here you go.
Yeah, and then now they're starting to go outside. I saw Dula go to the outside there on coming out of turn 4 last time, trying to give those guys a hint to move. They finally did, but it may be a little too late. We'll see if that outside line can form up.
Yeah, Dula looks like he's got a good run to the inside here. If he sees that outside lane charging, he's going to be the lead car on the outside lane now.
And that's going to help that outside lane, because he was able to get a draft off the 24 and get a big run. So hopefully he can get a big push into 3 and maybe pull that line forward.
Well, we will see. But one thing I want to see is if we get racy here at the end. Coming out of turn 4, Tank Racing, your top 3, Causey, Shearer, and Emerson Ardon. Shearer gets out of the way. It's going to be a battle to the end between the 45 and the 88. Who is going to get it? Shearer is going to get it. He is going to win here at the Talladega 195 as they are wrecking behind him.
Stacking up behind him, Dula was able to get that big run that we talked about at the end of those front cars split up. Get that big run. I think he was able to slide it sideways across for 3rd. Good hard racing by teammates there up front for the win.
So your winner here tonight, Ed Shearer, in the Pit Stop TV sponsored number 45 out of Tank Racing. Pretty good night for them overall. They almost swept the podium, but Matt Dula going to sneak in there, take 3rd place. But overall, they're going to get the win here and stay undefeated as well in the team standings with their Phoenix Virtual Racing counterparts coming in 7th, 8th, and 9th. And that's unfortunate for them because that is a heck of a night for them too. But Tank going to stay 8-0 here and undefeated on this season. So big win all around for Tank Racing here tonight with Ed Shearer in victory lane and getting the dub in the team standings.
Be interesting to talk to Causey here. As he led his teammates around this track most of the race, but it's almost the way it goes at super speedways. You kind of know you're a big bullseye target on your back. He was nice and led his teammates all the way around, but he knows that probably doesn't bode well when they come to the checkered flag.
Yeah, they're probably saying, you know what, man, you've led these enough and won these races enough. Shearer wanted to race them to the end, and it made it exciting. And we had a big wreck at the end too, so that shook things up as well. So there you see it, the 45 in victory lane once again. burning it down here at Talladega.
Always nice to get the last donut of 2022.
Oh, yeah. He's used to doing this, so why not one more here in 2022 and, kick things off right once we get to 2023. So, yeah, he's got a few more donuts to do here at Dega, and with that, we're going to go ahead, head up to the blimp, and give you your finishing results here tonight for race number 8 in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series. Ed Shear, your winner here. Joseph Causey coming home in second, just 500ths behind his teammate there. Matt Dula sneaks into the top 3, finishing out our podium. Emerson Ardon and Skip Gandy round out the top 5.
6 through 10, Johan Seminario, Alonzo King, Brandon Omang, Aaron Gerwitz, and Seth Berger.
And the rest of your top 20 going to be Timothy Latham, Michael Politis, Mike Mosby finishing 13th, Blair Holloman in 14th, Justin Rideout 15th, Brandon Zimmerman there in 16th. Good run for him in the 65 machine tonight. Randy Nichols comes home 17th, Scott Healy in 18th, Reese Schaefer finishes 19th after a good run here tonight. Not how he wanted it to end. And Lane Hostler going to round out the top 20 here this evening. So let's go ahead and get to the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's go ahead and track down Matt Dula, get his thoughts on tonight's race. Matt, it is Greg Olenek and Nick Halda up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Congratulations on the podium here tonight. A wild race, as always, at Super Speedways. Did you stick to your strategy, or did you switch it up through this race?
Well, Greg, it's good to be up here, and Nick as well. I really didn't have much of a strategy there towards the end because, my teammates just got caught up in some bad luck and stuff like that. But this JW Racing team works together as hard as we can and put ourselves in a good strategy to, just be up towards the front during that second to last green flag pit stop. So at that point, it was really becoming, kind of just making it friends where you could make them. So Johan and Skip were kind of people that I was communicating with to try to just stay with the tank team pack or whatever. I knew it was going to be really hard to get past them. I think that kind of Skip stepped out there a little bit before I was going to. And if we had been able to line up nose to tail, maybe we could have got by him. But, I'll take a third for this, this Sundrop DCD Racing Chevrolet Camaro. Always appreciative to be racing in SRN. So it's been a good race. I'm really glad to be on the podium for the first time. I'm not really pleased with taking a 6X there at the end when, I felt like the 57 just came up out of nowhere and destroyed me for no good reason. But I was going to finish third regardless. So, I'll definitely take the third.
It's always crazy and fun coming to the checkered flag at some of these super speedways. It did seem there with about 5 to go or a little bit more, you saw those tank guys jump the outside. It looked like you tried to break up that line or at least wedge yourself in the middle and just barely weren't able to do so. And then, like you said, had to kind of team up with the and others, if you will, that were running there in that top 6-7 spaces.
Yeah, I'd considered sliding up there when I saw him, but ultimately when I saw, the speed differential, they were probably doing 4 or 5 miles an hour better than me, and they were not going to bump draft me. I know that. So I was either going to go 3 wide and then put myself in a jeopardized position because they might side draft me and make me pull back further, or just stay down there with Skip and Johan and then try to reconcile it towards the end. And again, I think we did a good job for us being 3 non-teammates running up there with a team like Tank, who's kind of, perennial. They're up there, week in, week out. I wish that I had been able to have my JW Racing guys up there too. I think we would have been able to have a different outcome, but I will definitely take a third place here for sure.
Absolutely. And take that momentum into the holidays, take a couple weeks off, and kind of get you set for 2023 once we get back here at the Indianapolis Road Course. But before we let you go, Matt, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, again, Dante Curtis Designs. They've been with me up since my Podium 500 run last year. I have Sundrop on the car just because I really love Sundrop and it keeps me fueled. So shout out Sundrop. And then obviously Speed Racing Network and you guys, and then SRN Racing, JW Racing, just the whole team. Everybody that tuned in today, thank you guys for watching. I feel honored to be racing in front of any sort of crowd. So it's always a cool deal to be up here in front and being able to get the word out.
Well, hey, you guys made it exciting here tonight, so definitely go back and check it out here, and enjoy the holidays, man. Enjoy the week off, or the few weeks off, and we'll see you out in Indianapolis in a few weeks.
Hey, absolutely. Happy holidays, guys.
All right, take care. All right, so that was your JW Racing teammate coming home in third with a great run here tonight in that 41 machine. Let's get to the runner-up here tonight who battled it out with his teammate and bring Joseph Causey up here into the booth. Joseph, it's Greg Olenek and Nick Halda, no stranger to the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series broadcast booth. Great run, man. I know you wanted one more spot, but we're certainly excited you guys battled it out there at the end, man. But tell me what it is about these super speedways that you guys just make it look so easy here.
You just see we all click together. I mean, we line up, we're able to get together. When we get together, it just produces speed. And you've seen it firsthand, especially here. Whenever we got together and we took our pit stops and we were able to get our pit stops correct and get back out there, we have a 6-second lead, and we kept rolling. And then, usually I'm a good leader. Staying in front. I can hold a very steady wheel. I mean, it all goes to Ed. Ed is one of the greatest pushers I ever had as a teammate, and freaking he deserved it just as much as I did for freaking trying to get this win tonight.
Well, I was gonna peel back the curtain there and kind of ask, because we noticed you kind of jumped out about I don't know, 4 or 5 laps after that pit stop. You kind of jumped out and then took the lead, and we were wondering if it was a fuel strategy or if teams kind of know, hey, who's the best pusher, who's the best leader, and we noticed that you kind of led the line there. But what's that feeling like, knowing that it's best for your team, you're leading the line, but that also puts a big target on your back, and it's tough to stay there at these super speedways when it comes down to the checkered flag.
Yeah. It's a tough pill to swallow. I knew it was coming. He already told it to me it was coming. I already knew. I tried to prepare for it. I tried to drag my brakes, try to keep him behind me. But when he found a way to get to my side, and then it was all she wrote. And I wasn't gonna get to him again. I didn't have enough time. So it is what it is. I probably led the most laps. I'll take the points for that and everything. So. It equals almost a win with just the bonus points.
Yeah, glass half full, man. I got to imagine you're feeling good about your chances once we get out to the Indianapolis road course as well. So before we get there, though, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to? I know you always got a long list.
Oh, yeah. Got to thank Honey Press for coming on and freaking sponsoring all my races this year. Freaking, I can't thank them enough. If you get a chance, go check them out. honeypress.com. 100 on Anesthesia Associates. Got to thank Healthcare Billing, 213 Somewhere, Invader Sim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, Burghart's Designs, and got to thank freaking all my teammates in Tank Racing. Can't do it without them. They're freaking some of the best. And got to thank my my spotter Miz, and with the calls all night long. Great spotting. And thank the broadcasters. Definitely go watch this one.
You always do, man, and you always remember to thank your spotter, because that is very important. So once again, congrats on the runner-up, man. I hope you have a great holiday season. It's going to pick up here in the next couple of weeks, but enjoy the few weeks off, and we'll see you out at Indianapolis in 2 weeks, man. Best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank guys.
All right, see you, buddy. All right, so that was our runner-up here this evening. So let's go ahead and cue up that butt kicker victory lane, why don't we, and bring up maybe our winner here this evening. What do you say we go ahead and cue up Ed Shearer and bring him on up and get his thoughts on tonight's race? Let's see if I can track him down and find him. There he is. Let's see. Ed Shearer, Greg Olenek, and Nick Halda up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Congratulations on a well-run race, my man, and tell us about that night tonight.
Yeah, it was eventful to say the least. I can confirm I suck at qualifying on super speedways. I can officially confirm that. And yeah, not where you want to be, starting mid-pack. I mean, I feel like that's the danger zone with most of these places. But luckily we had a fast pit stop TV, Toyota Camry, and we're able to get up to the front, and then had that little issue with Scott Healy. I know he didn't mean any harm by that, but made a little recovery from that. Was lucky to not have so much damage from that, and thanks to green flag pit stops, that was basically what helped me get back with my teammates and be there at the end, and once we got close with Causey, me and Causey work really well together with these super speedway plate tracks, and I knew once me and him got up front and led all the rest of our teammates, I felt like we could pull away from the rest of the field. So that's kind of what happened before those last green flag pit stops. But luckily, I was able to edge him out. I told him I was going to race him in the end, and he was ready for it and was trying to put me up as high as he possibly could. But I felt like I had a good enough side draft I can be able to get by him, and luckily I was able to.
And see, that's a good insight into super speedway racing. We talk about a lot of people can get around this track one at a time, but the real skill comes into driving around everybody, knowing how to push, being a good pusher. And what is it about Causey? It's not just yourself, but your teammate Seth Berger was really able to link up the bumper. And when you guys had him out front, whether it was you or whether it was Seth, you guys were just able to push him around real hard. I was even impressed how hard you guys were pushing through the tri-oval early on in this race.
Yeah, we work really well together. I mean, we're not just teammates; we're all best friends, and we all, try to make each other better. Me and Causey recently, I mean, we've grown a pack together with another team basically that's formed outside of this league, and luckily recently Reese and Emerson and Seth and a couple others also joined on, so we all been able to run together not only on plate tracks but on regular tracks, and we're all getting ready to race more competitively than we have in this league, and it's just racing around these guys entirely is just basically we all understand each other's instincts on what each driver does and how to mesh up with the cars and how each person drives, so it kind of makes it easier for us to push. They say I'm the best pusher out of the group, which I don't think so, but I think it's just I have great teammates around me that know how to take good pushes, so I think I give most of the credit to them and not just me.
Well, I think you should take a lot of credit too, because you're always around up front as well. But yeah, Tank Racing, you guys just kill it here on the super speedways week in and week out. But before we let you go ahead and go on to celebrate the holiday season right around the corner, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I want to shout out my mother, and I know she doesn't watch a lot, but she always supports me no matter what, whether I'm doing these races or any other kinds of race. And I want to shout out all the fans that watch the broadcast every week. I want to shout out every person that supports us at Tank Racing, and also 100 on Anesthesia Associates, Healthcare Billing, 213 Simware, Invader Zim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, who makes my cars every week, Burgard's Designs, Pit Stop TV, who came on this week with Andrew Cardinelli IV. I know he's probably in chat watching, but with me and Emerson both running the colors this week, and I hope Andrew's proud. Get the Pit Stop crew in victory lane. I also want to thank Tank Racing as a whole, all my teammates, you guys in the booth as always, and yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Christmas. I know everybody's ready for it, so why don't we get on vacation?
Yeah, well, tell Andrew not to be too hard on me. I work with him, on the weekends sometimes. Hey, as from one director to another, I don't want him being too hard on me. So, once again, though, man, best of luck when we get out to Indianapolis in a few weeks. But first and foremost, enjoy the holidays and enjoy it with the family, man. And congrats again on a well-earned victory here tonight. So, with that, man, good night, and yeah, I'll send you back down to your teammates.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Happy holidays as well.
All right, so that's your winner here tonight, Nick. Ed Shearer gets it from his teammate at the very end, gets it from Joseph Causey, and parks it in victory lane here tonight at Talladega.
It's only fitting. He pushed Causey around most of the track, so you might as well get that last little push from Causey.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm glad they ran it out at the end. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, and it made it fun here for the Talladega 195. But that's going to wrap it up for these Cup guys here tonight. That's not it, though, for SRN. The truck guy is going to be out there on the track. I'll be joining them if everything goes according to plan out there at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and Sean Griffith and Brandon Domain will have that call for you. Same time, same place, right here at Speed Racing Network. And then I believe the Xfinity guy is going to get out there too this week. Nick, you got some ground to make up here. They're going to be out in Nashville, so that'll be a really fun race too.
Got a lot of ground to make up before the drop week should help me, but like I said, I want to get above that line before I have to worry about drop weeks. But to all the fans and the drivers of this Cup Series, everybody have a safe, fun but safe holiday. We want to see everybody back here in 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we all wish you guys a good night. Definitely come back tomorrow. And as always, go faster.